So the Indianapolis Colts, their 2025 season was supposed to be the year. They had Super Bowl dreams, and for a little while, it looks like they were going to pull it off. But it all came crashing down in just the most heartbreaking way possible. And now, well, now the franchise is standing at a massive crossroads, staring down two huge personnel questions that are absolutely going to shape their future for years to come. Welcome to NFL Nexus, and today we are breaking down this off-season of reckoning in Indy. Okay, let's just dive right in. Because to really get the weight of what the Colts are dealing with, you have to understand the whiplash of their 2025 season. I mean, this timeline says it all. At their peak, they were the #1 seed in the AFC. Daniel Jones was playing out of his mind, just absolutely on fire, looking every bit the franchise QB they hoped he'd be. The city was buzzing. It really felt like this was it. So what do? They make a massive, all-in gamble for a superstar to put them over the top. And then, poof, it all goes wrong. A catastrophic injury, a complete collapse, and just like that, a dream season ends with them sitting at home watching the playoffs on TV. All right, before we get into the nuts and bolts of all this, if you're enjoying this kind of deep dive analysis, do us a huge favor. Make sure you're subscribed to NFL Nexus, hit that like button, it really does help us out, and for sure, jump into the comments below. I really want to hear what you think the Colts should do. So here's the game plan for today. We're going to start by really unpacking that season of what-ifs and dig into the gamble that backfired so badly. Then we're going to talk about the shocking return of an old legend. And finally, we'll tie it all together and look at why the Colts are truly at a crossroads. All right, let's get to it. Section 1, a season of what-ifs. See, to get the decisions the Colts have to make now, you have to go back. You have to really feel that moment. Their 2025 season it's a cautionary tale, a story of these incredible highs that just made the fall that much more brutal.
You gotta picture the scene. Mid-season. Things could not have been going better. The Colts were sitting on top of the entire conference, and their quarterback, Daniel Jones, was playing, and I quote, lights out ball. We're not just talking good, we're talking elite. He was making all the throws, leading big drives. He looked unstoppable. So naturally, the expectations went through the roof. It wasn't about just making the playoffs anymore. It was about a real Super Bowl run. And in that front office, there was a crystal clear belief. This is our championship window, and we have to go for it right now.
And that belief, that feeling that they were on the cusp, well, it leads us right into Section 2, the high-stakes gamble. This was the move of the season, and honestly, maybe one of the biggest moves this franchise has made in a long, long time. The trade for superstar cornerback Sauce Gardner. This is the kind of move that either makes you a hero or gets you fired. And make no mistake, this wasn't just about adding a nice player. No way. This was a message. By going out and getting one of the best cornerbacks in the game, the Colts were basically kicking down the door and telling the rest of the AFC, we are here and we are one piece away from winning it all. It was the textbook definition of a win-now move, designed to capitalize on that one specific moment. And the price tag? Ooh, 2 first-round picks. Just let that sink in for a second. That is a massive, massive price. You're essentially mortgaging your future. You're giving away your chance to draft elite, cheap talent for the next 2 years, all for the chance to win right now. But the whole plan, all those high hopes, they just completely unraveled. It was like a domino effect of disaster. First, Daniel Jones tries to play through what turned out to be a fractured fibula. Gutsy move, but it turned out to be catastrophic. It leads to a torn Achilles, and boom, his incredible breakout season is over. And to make everything worse, Sauce Gardner himself couldn't stay healthy. He misses time, he's inconsistent when he's out there, and the defense never really gets that huge boost they paid for. The whole thing just fell apart. So, after giving up the farm to get him, the Colts are now facing an even tougher question. It's the kind of decision that has to be keeping the GM up at night. Gardner's contract is up. So, do you double down, pay him a massive extension, and basically admit you can't lose him after what you gave up? Or do you just cut your losses, let a top-tier talent walk away for nothing, and admit the trade was a total failure? Now, if you ask Sauce himself, he's not being shy about it. He's on the record saying he thinks Indy is his long-term home and that the team has told him the same thing. And then he drops that line, teams need premier cornerbacks. That's a power move. He's basically reminding them, hey, remember why you traded 2 first-round picks for me? That reason still exists. He's putting the pressure squarely back on them. But man, this is not an easy call. Just look at this breakdown. The arguments on both sides they're really strong. On one hand, yeah, he's an elite talent at a crucial position, and both sides say they want to get a deal done. He could be a cornerstone for years. But then you look at the other side of the coin, he was inconsistent, he was hurt, he only played 4 games for you, and you've already paid this insane price just to rent him for half a season. It is a classic battle of potential versus production. Okay, so while the Colts front office is trying to figure out that multi-million-dollar problem, we're going to switch gears to the other huge story of their offseason. And first, a real quick note, if you're looking for something fun for the football fans in your life, you can help support what we do here by checking out our NFL-themed coloring books. They're perfect for kids, grandkids, hey, even adults. The link is in the description, or you can just use the QR code on your screen. All right, let's get back to it. All right, Section 4, and this one came out of absolutely nowhere. With Daniel Jones out, the season was a total wash. The team was in a nosedive, and they needed somebody, anybody, to just stabilize the locker room. So they made a call that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. So think about it. You're in a desperate spot. The season's over. You just need a leader. Who do you call? Well, the Colts reached way, way back into their phone book for a name that's synonymous with grit, leadership, and, well, their last trip to the playoff. You heard that right. Philip Rivers, 44 years old and 5 full years out of the league. He was perfectly happy coaching his son's high school football team down in Alabama. This guy hadn't played a snap since January of 2021. That's an eternity in the NFL. So to say expectations were low is the understatement of the century. Most people thought it was just a gimmick. And yeah, if you just look at the wins and losses, he went 0-3. But that is not the story here. Not at all. He played so much better than anyone had a right to expect. He was getting the ball out quick, making checks at the line, reading defenses like he'd never left. He completely outplayed those rock-bottom expectations. But his biggest impact, the thing that really matters for this conversation, it didn't show up on a stat sheet at all. And that brings us right here to Section 5, because the real reason Philip Rivers' return was so important isn't about what he did on the field. It's about what he did on the sideline. He basically became a coach, and in doing so, might have shown the franchise a glimpse of its future at the quarterback position. Okay, check out these numbers. It's the last week of the season. The Colts decide to throw their rookie 6th-round pick, Riley Leonard, into the fire. And he's not just playing anyone. He's playing the Texans, a nasty division rival with a defense that eats young quarterbacks for lunch. And what happens? The kid goes out and does this. He looked calm, he looked confident, and he puts up 3 total touchdowns. So what in the world happened? Well, according to the people who were there, the answer was Philip Rivers. He spent the entire game on the sideline, right in the rookie's ear. He was going over the tablet with him between every series, pointing out coverages, telling him what to look for. His guidance was seen as a huge factor in Leonard's success. He was basically a living, breathing cheat code for a young quarterback. So, of course, that one game sparked a ton of talk. Could Coach Rivers be a real thing in Indy? Now, let's be clear, it's mostly seen as a long shot, kind of a pipe dream. He did interview for the head coaching job with the Bills before pulling his name out, probably to go back to coaching his son. But the fact that he even took that interview tells you the idea isn't crazy. The possibility of him coming back as, say, a QB coach for the Colts, well, that door isn't completely shut. And that brings us to the end. Section 6, the Colts at a crossroads. Because these two stories, the expensive superstar cornerback and the retired legend, they've come together to perfectly define this offseason. They represent 2 totally different ways of thinking about how to build a team. I mean, think about it. The front office is facing 2 completely different kinds of problems. The Sauce Gardner decision is tangible. It's a spreadsheet decision, all about money, cap space, and draft picks. It's a massive bet on potential that will decide the talent ceiling for this team. But the Philip Rivers question? That's totally intangible. It's a low-cost shot at improving your culture, your leadership, your football IQ. It's a decision that could define the very character of your locker room. And so that is the ultimate question hanging over Indianapolis. The choices they make on these 2 players will tell us everything about their philosophy moving forward. After a year where their biggest gamble blew up in their face, do they double down and keep betting on high-risk, high-reward talent, or do they pivot and invest in the wisdom of the past to help guide their future? The answer will define whether they're building a winner or if they're just setting themselves up for another year of what-ifs. Thanks for watching NFL Nexus.